So welcome to Challenge the Road. We need to have a chat. It's early in the morning. I got up early. I had a lot on my mind and I want some of your opinions. I want some of your comments. I'm going to talk about GR Yaris. It's a car that I drove with the Mitsubishi Evo. I've been looking at a lot of reviews on the car as well, and I just want some input on it. Now, let's just go back. This car really is like the Subaru Mitsubishi of our time. And just where I'm off to, I'm going to go off to Costa, and I'll show you when I woke up. I think it was a bit of a Subaru sign, so that's why I thought I'm going to come out early and talk about it, but you see the 555. So I'm going to go to Costa. Then what I thought was I'm going to go to my storage and I'm going to do a Meet Your Heroes video because it's Easter. I've just moved house and I am full of adrenaline. I don't know, I should probably be tired, but I'm not. I just want to do stuff. So anyway, GR Yaris, it should be a car that I should have really, and I keep looking at them, and my sort of skill is obviously buying cars that have depreciated and then hopefully have leveled off, and in some cases have gone up in value. And that was the reason I didn't have the Yaris, but it was such a good price, wasn't it? Originally 35,000 for a rally, I would say sort of not replica, but it's as close as we can get for a road car at the moment from any manufacturer to a WRC car. If we go back in time, we used to love the Subarus, the Mitsubishis, and I was trying to sort of think back sort of where it sits, because in our time the Subaru Impreza come out with around 200 horsepower. I remember sort of 208 being a figure for a My 99, and then we had the 22B, which was sort of unattainable, not because it was huge money back then, I mean nowhere near like today. I mean, I bought my car from Ryan Giggs, and I think it was 32,000 from a place called Warrender who imported them. Some of these cars now command £300,000-400,000. So actually, looking at it, they weren't much, weren't bad value back then, but I couldn't afford that. So I was always going for a second-hand Impreza. Now, to get 280 horsepower, which is what the new one is coming out at, and we're going to detail that more in general, we had to look at imported cars until the P1 come out. So the original car is a circuit pack GR, which has got about 250, 260 horsepower, and I've drove that car, and I enjoyed it. I didn't, think it was a bad car, but the problem was it was against an Evo Tommy Mackinnon RS, so it's a little bit unfair because the Yaris you could use all the time, the Tommy Mackinnon you just can't, and there's reasons for that. It's an RS version. This is the version that was made for Tommy Mackinnon's World Rally car for Group A. So basically, they would take that shell and use that for the Group A cars, and there was only about 220 built, so it's very, very low numbered car, and it's probably a bit of an unfair comparison because there isn't a GR Yaris sort of limited edition super duper P1 at the moment. Now this is the discussion point. So I've watched so many videos on the GR Yaris because I'm that close to buying one. I'm thinking the new one's come out and it's £10,000 more, so it's 45 from 35. It's only a circuit pack car. We'll go through all the different options on the car when we stop at Costa. Is this going to hold up the residuals of second-hand GR Yarises? And it's got me thinking, I think it will. And I've been looking at the values, the prices, and I think there's some really, really good cars out there that are going to be half the price of the new car. Now, let's just go through areas on the car that I've seen. Now, I've been watching a lot of videos, as I said, and some of the comments I'm not quite sure on, and I'll tell you why. One was saying a YouTuber's got the car, that the brakes aren't great. And I'm thinking, I don't understand that, because those brakes on that GR are huge. I drove the car. All I can think is his car has a problem, because there's no way, that huge tyres, massive brakes on a lightweight car, the brakes can be poor. I mean, you remember back when we had Subarus, they had the little 4 pots, and we still used to drive and brake okay, and they were, you know, can get a little bit little bit spongy, but I can't see that on the Yaris. So I'm going to dismiss that because I don't think that is an issue. But again, if you've got a GR Yaris and you think the brakes are underpowered, I'd love to know that, because I'm not seeing that. The other thing that was said was noise, and the car not being maybe noisy enough, maybe raw enough is probably the other word as well. Look, when we had Subarus, I didn't keep a stock Subaru. I went to places like Scooby Sport, I changed the exhaust straight away. At the moment, I've got all the range of Subarus, the classic with the classic exhaust. I've got 22B, I've got World Rally Car. You know, you change that exhaust and you change the air intakes and the filters, and you zoop it up without chipping the car. This is just within the sort of normal range. And when I look online, there's lots of lovely cars that have been upgraded, and that's what I would do. So I can't see the argument about noise, because you can upgrade stuff. Now, what I'd then like to know is how many of you have upgraded your car, because it's an easy upgrade. You take the back box off and you get noise, and if you sell it like I used to do, because money was very, very tight for me then, what I used to do is I would buy a Scooby Sport exhaust, and when I sold the car, I'd take it off, put the original back on, and I'd almost get my money back on the exhaust. And I'm assuming you can do that on GR. You've also got people like Litchfield. They do some fantastic conversions for the car if you wanted to spend more money. But actually now, your money's looking like good value, because if the new car's coming out at like 45, if you want to do some upgrades, you're at 50 anyway. So if you could get a second-hand Litchfield car, I think it's game on. Now, the other thing is, you know, looks and stuff of the car. I really do know it's a GR Yaris when they're on the road, and I can spot them obviously quite easily. And I do like the arches and that. If it was me putting myself into sort of different positions, let's just say I'm 25, so I'm half the age I am now. I'm 25. I'm flipping putting a body kit on that car, and I'm putting a WRC rear wing on the back, and I'm going to have it zooped up, and it's going to look like it's doing 1,000,000 miles an hour sitting just in a car park. That's the first thing I'm doing. And even for me now, I'm looking at doing that. That's what I would do. I'd put the spoilers in the body. I think Maxton do a kit. There's lots of, you know, people out there that probably do them, but I would do that 100%. Because when I had the Subarus, I think the original ones had like a flat spoiler, then it went up, and I had that spoiler. Then I wanted like a P1 spoiler. They're getting higher and higher, and you know I like spoilers. So actually you could have the car, say, buy a cheaper second-hand one now, make it look fantastic. The other things on there were like the driving position being a bit high, and I think this mirror, which they've adjusted. It didn't overly affect me driving the car. I think all it was, in the old days, the cars seemed to have incredible visibility, and I think it's just because like these A-pillars and stuff were very thin back then. Everything was very thin, so you always had fantastic visibility. So getting into this more modern car that's obviously got more structural protection, and that's good. You know, we all had a few crashes back then. So the modern car is much more protected, like this Taycan today. You know, if I had an accident, I've probably got, you know, 8 million airbags. I've got a lot of safety stuff that's going to save me. But I don't see that as, it wouldn't detract me from the old car. Also, if you really wanted, you could upgrade the seats, and I think you can get the seats a bit lower, a bit like we've done with the Vantage. So I don't see that as much of a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up at this Costa, and let's have a chat through the new car. And I want to just talk about all the features that the new car's got over the old car, and is it worth this additional money? Right, so we've arrived. The only problem is all the details of the new car are on my phone, which I'm looking at now. So I'm going to try and remember them all from last night. So the new car, 45,000. It's only a circuit pack car. Manual gearbox, but also a new 8-speed gearbox. I'm interested in this. It says 300 milliseconds is the fastest change, and it says it's a very fast gearbox. I'm hoping it's got like a bit of a crackle and a snap to it, because obviously that's not very quick these days on the change, but I'm assured that the engineers will have built in something, maybe a bit more of an overboost facility or something that can just sort of drive that change, give you a real feeling of a gear change. We've gone up to 276 horsepower from 256, so it's a little bit of a rise there. The torque has gone up, but it's higher in the rev range. So it was 3,000 RPM, it's 3,300 RPM, but you've got 20 more torque. The front spoiler, it's now 3-part because it's easier for rallying, and it's probably easier for you if you crash it, which you might. It's quite a quick car, but it obviously is very, very safe handling. It's got a steel front mesh instead of a plastic front mesh, again for rallying, for debris. Don't think it affects you that much on the road. The air take is different on the car to get more performance. And these are some of the things that people upgraded to. The rear of the car, they moved the bottom light because it was melting against the exhaust, and on the top they moved the rear light so people could put big spoilers on, like me, on the top. So that's now easier to do, because I had a feeling that when they added some of the rear spoilers, it was covering the rear brake light. So that's been done as well. I do like the new rear of the car as well. Inside, 25mm lower on the seat, but they've actually lowered the dash as well, which is obviously makes a big difference. And I think some of the dash lights, LEDs, speedo is different, apparently nicer. The wing mirror has gone up. Rear view mirror has gone up, and I don't know if you can do that on the standard car, but that's gone up. So basically all you're doing is creating more of this visual thing looking through. The spring rates were up. I think it was 46 on the rear, up from 40, but the front spring rates were up a lot. I think they were 36 to 56. I'll try and put that on the screen because this is just from memory. So we're seeing a huge amount of upgrades, and it's becoming, to me, a little bit like a P1 version of a Subaru Impreza. But you can probably get a lot of these upgrades for potentially less than £10,000 or £10,000. But again, I haven't modified one. I need your help on that. Would that be a nice amount for a GR Yaris that would get you some real performance benefits? The other thing is, when you put a full suspension on a car, on something like a GR Yaris, and again, I haven't done that, but I know Litchfield have, I think it's a Nitron suspension. I think you get fantastic benefits from that anyway. So I know they've upped the spring rates and stuff, but maybe some of the people that have put the Nitron on have actually got even better suspension. I'll go to my view on the car. I think I wouldn't mind a second-hand one. I did see there's a limited edition one, and that's going to come out at 60,000, and that's got the rally drivers' names, but I don't know hugely what the differences are, and I think I'll have to put that on another video, because this is just about the main car. I doubt I'd be able to get one. I doubt any of us would be able to get one, if I'm honest. I assume it's just so limited we wouldn't get one, but they're coming out at 60. So do the original cars look like value? Absolutely. Will they lose much more? I don't think so. I think it's a good time to come in, and if it was me, I'd buy a modified one. It's been looked after. Normally people who modify cars as well, they look after cars. I'm looking at some 997s at the moment. We said about that journey, and I'd like one that's modified. I found a really good one, and I can just tell by the advert and, you know, all the bits on it that this guy loves this car, and that's what you need. And with these Yarises, I think it's a bit of a community. I'm trying to remember how many are sold. I think it's 32,000 GR Yarises have been sold worldwide, which is a fantastic number. And it's great that younger people can experience the sort of cars we had in our time, but at a safer level. You know, our cars were quite dicey sometimes, and you needed to really drive. And I think that driving has changed. I mean, I drive down here today and I've got dongs and notifications and WhatsApps and back in our day, we just had like a Nokia car kit and that was it. And if you had a phone call, you were so concentrated on driving. So I understand modern cars have got to be easier because there's just so much more going on. yeah, so that's a review. I'm going to grab this coffee now, like I said, and I'm going to go and do some Meet Your Heroes videos. Yeah, I'm just buzzing with adrenaline this morning. It's still early, not many people here. I thought it might be Easter as well, so I want to get out. Hope you enjoy these videos. Please like, share, subscribe. It really helps if you can press the like. It really helps if you can subscribe. We're trying to get as many subscribers as we can. Yeah, and I'll see you again soon.